All right. So this is her CV. Let me hide comments. I don't want it to hide something. Okay. So this is her CV. So you can see, so yeah, she went to Brandeis, Michigan. She got her master's, then her master's social work, and then her PhD. But she now works at University of Wisconsin. But her whole shtick or whatever is basically like the importance of fathers in a kid's life. Are you kidding me? So I want to start out with a little interview of Tova. So we'll watch this.
Hi, I'm Tova Walsh. I'm an assistant professor of social work at University of Wisconsin-Madison. I teach courses on social work interventions with children, youth, and families, on family violence, and on social work practice with service members, veterans, and their families. The UW School of Social Work is highly regarded for the research and teaching that happen here. But on top of that, what's really special about this place is just how wonderful the people are. So I feel really lucky to be at a place where I have colleagues who are not only brilliant, but really down to earth and kind as well. As an instructor, I'm really interested in helping my students to bring what they're learning through their field placements into the classroom. So I'm really interested in thinking about how what we're learning in the class connects to what they're doing in their current positions and what they'll be doing when they go out into the world after graduating as practicing social workers. So social work is, to me, is about learning about and understanding social problems, but going beyond that to think about addressing those problems, thinking about prevention and thinking about ameliorating major social problems. My research broadly focuses on supporting emerging competencies in early parenthood, promoting nurturing parent-child relationships, and preventing childhood exposure to violence. I'm particularly interested in identifying effective strategies for engaging fathers in services, since I think there's a lot of room for social work to increase the impact of our interventions by doing more to engage the whole family. And I'm also especially interested in efforts to support parent-child relationships in military families in the context of separations and reunions demanded by deployments. In some of the research that I work on, I am involved in developing and testing interventions to support positive parenting. And in other studies that I do, I try to learn about the factors that contribute to risk and resilience for families so that we can do more to support families and promote child and family well-being. I think there's a lot of room for people who are entering the social work profession to make a big contribution. In my area of social work, which focuses on practice with children, youth, and families, we've developed so many interventions, but there's still so much room to think about different subpopulations and the needs that they have. So one of the things that I do is to think about, for example, how we can better engage fathers in services or how we can meet the specific needs of military families. But there are so many different groups that really could use support. And so I think people coming into this field just have a whole wide open field to contribute.
Yeah. So have y'all ever had those friends, or let me rephrase that. Have you ever known those girls that always choose, I'm trying to be nice, they always choose like the most unattractive people to either date or hang out with so that they always look the best? You know what I'm talking about? Yep. So then she was on this podcast. We'll just play a little bit of it. We're not going to play the whole thing. Where Tova talks about inclusion, father's inclusion within the scope of perinatal mental health. Okay, this was Wendy's best friend. I do not know what the status is. I can tell you that I called Tova. How long ago was it? 4 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks? I don't know. I was driving to work and I was like, you know what? Hell with it. I'm gonna call her. Her name is right on the University of Wisconsin website. And I called. She answered, hello, it's Tova Walsh. And I introduced myself and just said I'd love to ask her some questions about her friendship with Wendy Adelson. And she said, I'm ending this, or goodbye. And she hung up. So
welcome to A Health Podyssey. I'm your host, Alan Weil. We're spending the month of April talking about perinatal mental health, which is the focus of the entire April issue of Health Affairs. Now, the mental health of those who give birth is critical to the health and well-being of children. But what about the fathers of those children? Fathers play critical roles that affect child and family well-being, and there's evidence that fathers experience perinatal mood and anxiety disorder with significant consequences for children and families. So how can we include fathers in the discussion as we seek to improve perinatal mental health? That's the topic of today's episode of A Health Odyssey. I'm here with Tova Walsh, Associate Professor in the Sandra Rosenbaum School of Social Work at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Dr. Walsh, along with Craig Garfield at Northwestern University, published a paper in the April 2024 issue of Health Affairs, summarizing the literature on paternal perinatal mental health and offering a series of recommendations for policies designed to promote the inclusion of fathers in child and family services. We'll discuss the evidence and these recommendations in today's episode. Dr. Walsh, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me.
So let's start with some of the basics. It may seem obvious, but I never like to think that things are obvious. Why should people who are focused on trying to improve perinatal mental health and address perinatal mental health needs, why should they pay attention to fathers and their mental health and their well-being?
So I think there are two reasons that it's really important to pay attention to fathers and their well-being. So first of all, fathers are an important influence on mothers and babies. So when fathers are struggling, they're less able to provide support to mothers. They're less well positioned to bond with their babies. So it's really critical for maternal and child health that we provide the support to fathers that they need. It's also really critical to think about fathers in their own right and recognize that as parents, fathers too are vulnerable to perinatal mental health challenges. And so for fathers' own health and well-being, to prevent long-term mental health challenges and consequences for children, it's really key to think about intervening early, or even better yet, preventing mental health problems for fathers in the perinatal period.
Okay, so there are sort of two different pathways, as you describe, of interest and importance. Now, you noted in the paper, we did a whole issue on perinatal mental health about 2.5 years ago. None of the papers were about fathers. When you think about sort of the overall scholarship, the policy focus on perinatal mental health, which we talk a lot about in this issue, as we did a few years ago, where do you see fathers included in the conversation? Where do you see them excluded?
So I think it's really striking how largely excluded fathers have been from the conversation about perinatal health. But I think it's exciting and promising that there is a growing body of research that makes really clear how prevalent perinatal depression and anxiety are among men and emphasizes what the consequences are for children and families. So the research makes pretty clear that for fathers in the perinatal period compared to men of similar age who are not parents, that they are about twice as likely to be depressed in the period of pregnancy and in the year following the birth of a new baby. And so that's a significantly elevated level of depression, and it's something for us to pay attention to. That body of work has really grown. And so I certainly don't want to say that there isn't scholarship out there. It's out there and it's growing. But it's still the case that overall, when we have kind of a broader societal conversation about perinatal mental health, we're generally thinking about moms. We're thinking about the parent who gave birth. And that is so important that we do that. So I want to be really careful about saying when we call attention to fathers, we're saying alongside mothers, we're saying all parents need to be attended to in the conversation about perinatal mental health. And as I was saying earlier, attending to fathers matters for fathers' mental health, but really is so important to maternal mental health. So for both mothers and fathers, one of the really key factors associated with perinatal depression is the quality of the relationship with your partner. If that's a source of tension, if there are difficulties there, that's a strain that contributes to depression. So thinking about mothers and fathers, it's really important to think about their role in each other's mental health, as well as individually what their mental health needs are.
Okay, is this not crazy to anybody else? So this was supposedly like one of Wendy's like best friends. And I think one that Wendy would forward all the emails to, like the law, the motions. So what she would do is she would forward to her friends, Sara, Tova, that kind of thing, the motions Dan was filing, but never really shared her side of it. She's a master manipulator. So, I mean, I do look at this like Tova is a victim. However, Tova should know better, right? She's obviously very educated, but she's talking about depression and the importance of a marriage and the relationship, the importance of a father with a child. Wow. And we don't know if Tova and Wendy are still friends. I would honestly be shocked. That's just me, but we don't know.
So in the research, we're largely overlooking fathers. In the policy realm, which you asked about as well, for the most part, policies that address perinatal mental health are focused on mothers and are not considering fathers. I think we're maybe on the precipice, maybe I'm being optimistic, but really hopeful that we're moving toward a change. We've seen just in the last few weeks, the leadership of the Congressional Dads Caucus and the Black Maternal Health Caucus together jointly wrote a letter to the Secretary of Health and Human Services calling for more research on fathers' role in the perinatal period. I think there is growing awareness, but largely we're not yet paying enough attention to fathers and their role in family well-being in the perinatal period.
I don't think Jeff knew Tova. To my understanding, Tova never lived in Tallahassee. But
that's really interesting. And this question, I don't know if you can answer, but I feel the need to ask it. It sounds like from a sort of evidence base, part of it is how much we know about fathers' mental health. And certainly a lot of the papers we've published on the topic of perinatal mental health get into incidence and rates of different conditions that we should be aware of. But then there's sort of this other part, which is the family dynamics, the mechanics, if you will, of how poor mental health of either or both parents translates into consequences for.
Poor mental health and how it translates into consequences. Yeah. So let's remember Wendy was on those antidepressant meds. What did Jeff Lacoste say? It was double the recommended dose of Lexapro, and her dad, the dentist, was writing it. We're talking about mental health. And then she just was like quitting them cold turkey, and he was really worried about that.
Infants and children.
I'll play this for a little longer, and then I have another little clip of Tova, and then we'll move on. Also, somebody wrote, does anyone else think Toga? Yes, I do. That's one of my favorite movies, Animal House. And I did a short on that a while ago. I don't remember when, but it's somewhere in my library of shorts.
Children. So I'm curious, when you talk about sort of what we do and don't know, are we sort of weak on both of those fronts? I'm not even sure I got the right two fronts, but those are the two that came to my mind. Are we weak on both of those fronts, or are we kind of strong on one and weak on the other? How would you characterize it?
Yes. So I would say that the research kind of broadly in mental health on etiology and epidemiology and kind of all the different angles from which we study perinatal mental health, we have a much, greater depths of knowledge about how mental health plays out for mothers and what its consequences are for families, and less so for fathers. I was thinking about prevalence. There are studies that show for fathers, it's generally about 10% of fathers who have depression in the perinatal period. We know significantly less about perinatal anxiety, and then even less about other mental health disorders for fathers in the perinatal period. So I think there's kind of a lot to learn there. The research on some of the factors like relationships, we've got some research there, but it's generally with pretty small samples. So one of the striking things is that we've got data on mothers, some data on mothers at the population level. The CDC partners with state health departments on the PRAM survey, the Pregnancy Risk Assessment Monitoring. I hope I got that right. The survey, but the PRAM survey happens around the country. And so we get to have some data that's nationally representative that tells us a bit about how mothers are faring in the period of pregnancy and surrounding the birth.
Right. Tova's just that typical word salad, just going to throw a bunch of fancy words, all this. Ugh. All right. I have one more interview. This one actually shows her because I know y'all want to see her picture. This was a Zoom, and I think she talks for about 15 minutes on it. But I think she's done when the man comes on to talk about breastfeeding. So,
I'm Dave Chancellor, I'll be your host, and I'm so happy to introduce our presenters for our webinar. Dr. Tova Walsh is an assistant professor in the School of Social Work here at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and a research affiliate of the Institute for Research on Poverty. Daryl Davidson is executive director of the Milwaukee Fatherhood Initiative. Dr. Kevin Gruenberg is co-founder and director of Love Dad Support for Fathers and Families. And Calvin Williams is founder and president of Lucian Families. So I want to thank all of you for being here. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also want to acknowledge the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluation at the Department of Health and Human Services for their support of IRP as the National Research Center on Poverty and Economic Mobility. That said, any positions expressed in today's webinar don't necessarily reflect the positions of ASPE, the Institute for Research on Poverty, or the Wisconsin Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Board. So as we get started, I just want to give you a quick outline of our webinar today. We have an hour, and Dr. Tova Walsh is going to lead us sort of in a broad introduction of the topic as we get started here. And then we're going to turn to Daryl Davidson, Kevin Grunberg, and Calvin Williams before we move to kind of a broader discussion with a lot of the questions that you all asked when you registered for today's webinar. And if we have time after that, we should have a little bit. We're going to turn to your questions in that informal Q&A. And so you'll see that there's
Yeah, NAP. Jeff Lacoste talks about this in his March 2015 interview about how Wendy was on all these antidepressants and she was wanting just to quit them. And he said, you need a liquid dose or a liquid form because to slowly like come off or titrate off. And she wasn't doing it. And she was just kind of going haywire. And her dad was writing the scripts. And honestly, a pharmacist should have caught that, because a dentist should not be writing antidepressants. I mean, it's one thing if they write Xanax for people that get, nervous at the dentist, but Lexapro.
The Q&A box on the bottom of your screen. You can type in questions all throughout today's webinar. Some of those we might answer just in chat. And others we're going to answer live towards the end. So we appreciate all your questions. You will see that we also have chat enabled. And so you can participate as much as you want on there. We love hearing where people are coming from, the sort of work that you're doing. And so please feel free to jump in there. We are recording today's webinar, and so if you have to leave early or you want to share this afterwards, I should be sending out a copy of the recording and Dr. Walsh's slides later on tomorrow, so you can look for those in your email. We're also going to have those posted on the IRP YouTube channel, and the Prevention Board will have them up in their resource library later on. With that, I want to turn it over to Tova. Thanks so much for being here, Tova.
Thank you, Dave, and thanks. I'm really excited to have Daryl, Kevin, and Calvin here to speak with us today. I'm going to put up some slides to share with you. So hang on just a second here while I get.
Why does her hair always look wet? Every interview I see, it looks like she just got out of the shower. I'm really trying to be nice. Wendy's family is in the dental care business, and I don't understand
that going for us. And I'm going to share my screen with you. Sorry, hold on just a second. Not working for me right now, and we just practiced, but here I go, having trouble with the slides. Sorry, everyone. I'm going to try one more time, and then I'm just going to go for it without them, and we'll send them out to you afterward. I'm not sure.
She needs to put it in presentation mode.
Now?
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. That looks perfect.
It's perfect. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Sorry about that glitch for a minute there, everyone. So really happy to have you with us to be talking about expanding inclusion of fathers and perinatal and early childhood programs, and really looking forward to getting into discussion with our presenters. So I'm going to do a quick overview, like Dave said, just a kind of framing with what the research tells us about this topic, and then really looking forward to hearing from three experts who are working in this space about the work that they do. And so just to give you a sense of where we're going, after I speak, we're going to hear from Calvin about the work that he does supporting professionals and organizations that support breastfeeding to strengthen inclusion of fathers. We'll hear from Kevin about his work increasing support for fathers and home visiting services. And we'll hear from Daryl about the work that the Milwaukee Fatherhood Initiative does to provide comprehensive.
We are going over some of Wendy's friends. We know she told in the interview with Isom, she said, I have a lot of friends. Yeah, that's what she said. But I'm just going over the ones that we always see in legal documents and the emails. So this is Tova Walsh. This is a friend from Brandeis, where Wendy went to college, and met Tova. And then Tova's specialty, she's got a PhD, is basically fathers and in a child's life. Then we're going to move on to Sara Youssef, who was no longer a friend of Wendy's. And then Jane McPherson, everyone's favorite.
Support for new fathers, and then we'll move into questions and discussion. And before I move into talking too much specifically about the topic in relation to engaging fathers specifically in perinatal and early childhood programs, I just want to call attention to the fact that we've done a series of webinars here. And for those who are,
let's just read that sentence right here. Okay, let's read this. Let's remember these little boys were 3 and 5 when their father was taken from them. And Tova, at the time, was best friends with Wendy. I don't know the situation now. Benefits to children. Positive father involvement is associated with positive social, emotional, and cognitive outcomes for children from infancy to adolescence and into adulthood. Early father involvement is significantly related to later paternal engagement. But yet Wendy was forwarding her legal things. I feel like Tova was supporting her in this divorce. I do believe Wendy had made it out that she was abused, like mentally being abused, but shame on Tova.
Interested in a broader framing around what are the unique contributions of fathers to their children's development, or ways of engaging fathers in programs specifically for fathers, or including fathers in broader family programs, I encourage you to check out some of those earlier webinars, which might answer some questions that you have, or or be useful to you in your work. Where we're starting from today is recognizing that positive father involvement is associated with a range of benefits for children across their lifespan. So the positive impacts of having an engaged father start even before a child is born. So start during pregnancy, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we think about perinatal programs.
Okay, I think we all got the point on Tova. I'm not going to continue to bore us all with this, but you can see this is on YouTube. You can just type in Tova Walsh, WALSH, and she's actually mentioned in the police interview, just because she was one of the 100 people Wendy called that morning as she was building her alibi. I mean, have you ever talked to that many people in a day? I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to share. So let me go to Jane. No, actually, we're going to go to Sara. So I'm trying to go in chronological order of friendships. So Tova was the oldest one that we know of. Never heard Wendy mention any high school friends, which I find interesting. I don't know about y'all, but like some of my best friends are from high school. Some of my best friends I went to kindergarten with. So yeah. All right. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I was going to get big like that. I'm going to show y'all this. All right. Have y'all heard of this podcast called Original Jurisdiction? So the guy that hosts it, he went to law school at Harvard with Dan, but he does some really good interviews. But this is an interview that he did with Stephen Epstein, who authored the book Extreme Punishment. And, I didn't mean to show this, but I'm just going to go ahead. I meant to save it for later, but I was going to read this. This is about Jane, and I meant to go to Sara, but it's fine. So they start talking about the research for the book. And he talks about who he reached out to, and he does some impressive research. But he did reach out to Jane. And this interview was in 2022. So it was before Charlie's trial. Well, sorry, it reset the website. I had it all marked earlier. But he talks about how he emailed Jane, but then Wendy sent him an email. So give me a second. You know what? I wonder if he has a couple of these. I might have pulled up the wrong one. They talk about the love story. Let's see. Yeah, the host says, the host of the podcast says a lot of us who knew Dan, who were his friends, we knew that. People talk about how it would have been different had it worked out at University of Miami. I might just have to go back and search for this when we're watching the next video. Well, I'm sorry, I had it all bookmarked. So they have, this is the whole transcript of the podcast, by the way. All right, I'm gonna go back. So I'm gonna go to Sara Youssef. So this is Sara Youssef. So she and Wendy became friends at University of Miami Law School. Okay. So they were there in 2003. So that means Sara was friends with Wendy all during her courtship with Dan, the engagement, the marriage. And basically, I mean, Sara now realizes how manipulated she was. Oh yeah, David Latt, he knew Dan. Yep, that's right, Kristen. Then Sara ended her friendship in 2017 with Wendy. So we know that the murder happened in 2014, and then arrest happened in 2016. And Wendy basically reached out to Sara like, hey, can you help me out and like say something publicly about me? And Sara just kind of politely is like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. But I want to read y'all. There was actually a motion in Donna's trial. They did a deposition of Sara Youssef. And Sara basically came forward after she saw Phil Markel's victim impact statement after Charlie's conviction, which I'm going to play that in a moment. But there was a motion in limine that Donna's attorneys, they did not want Sara Youssef to be a witness in the case. Now we know they didn't call Sara Youssef, but she was on the state's witness list. So this is what they outlined. So they basically, I don't have Sara's whole deposition. I have not FOIA'd it, but they pulled out some of Sara Youssef's deposition. And keep in mind, she was a public defender in Miami for 13 years, okay? So I feel like she's got a pretty good pulse on it. So they hear a request on Adelson to exclude Sara Youssef as a trial witness because Mrs. Adelson was indicted in this case with 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and 1 count of solicitation of first-degree murder. Sara Youssef has been listed by the prosecution as a material witness in this case. Sara is a former close friend of Miss Adelson's daughter, Wendy Adelson. Sara and Wendy first met when they were students at University of Miami Law School, 2003. According to Sara, her friendship with Wendy was very close. Sara and Wendy were friends for about 13 years, which would be accurate. 2003, 13 years, 16, 17. Yep. During this time, Sara knew Mrs. Adelson because she was the mother of her close friend, Wendy. Because of Sara and Wendy's friendship, Sara had been to Thanksgiving at the Adelsons' home on a few occasions and had been to their residence for different holidays and events. Sara said she was aware, and y'all will hear Georgia in trial when she talks about the grandma motion email. One of the people that Wendy forwards it to, of the 15 people, all in one email. Some of the guys she's, doing, and then some of her girlfriends. She includes Sara on it. Sara was aware that it was a highly contentious divorce and further testified that Wendy emailed her some of the motions Dan filed, as we've seen with Georgia. Sara described a birthday party she attended for Wendy's eldest son, Ben, which was held at Wendy's parents' condo in 2014, shortly after Dan's murder. So Dan was shot July 18th. I think this party was like 11 days later at the condo. It was at this party that Sara obtained the only information she was regarding Donna Adelson. According to Sara, while at the party, she overheard Donna say, "They're talking about him like he was a beloved professor. But you know something? He was a jerk." I think Donna was like maybe looking on her phone, an article about Dan Markel. Who says that? Sara thought what Donna said was abnormal because Dan had just died. And in most cultures, we don't speak ill about the dead. In Sara's opinion, Donna's statement conveyed an outsized and inappropriate anger considering that Dan would never bother anyone again. Beyond that statement, Sara had no other testimony related to Donna Adelson that she could offer. Sara ended her friendship with Wendy in 2017. When asked if she had come to the conclusion that Donna was guilty or the Adelsons in general were guilty of doing something, Sara thought they were all guilty of conspiring to murder Dan Markel. Sara clarified that it was not all of the Adelsons, but that Donna, Charlie, and Wendy were guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and soliciting somebody to kill Dan. When asked how she became a witness in this case, Sara said that after the last trial, she saw Phil Markel's victim impact statement and was brought to tears. She also explained that the amount of time he talked about grandparent alienation and not having a meaningful relationship with the children made her feel really awful. Because of this, Sara contacted the Markel's attorney and provided him with the information she had about grandparent visitation legislation. Sara said nothing happened for a couple of months, but then Markel's attorney contacted her and told her that he was giving her name to the prosecutor, Georgia Kappelman. Sara said she did this because she wanted to help the Markels. It's pretty powerful. Let's read the chat, what everybody's saying. Sorry, I can't like read all that and do the chat. J Cash. The thing is, even if Dan was an abusive husband, once he murdered, the war should have been over and any will. Yeah, I agree. The fact that they hold on to the hatred to this day speaks volumes. I totally agree. Precious Gem. Wow, Donna was vicious. Also remember, Lacasse said that he went somewhere with Wendy and Wendy was talking about Dan's head being blown off. That's right. That was at a bar mitzvah. Yeah. Sara Youssef. It is. And Wendy had emailed, and I know they've been entered in and other people have covered them, but she was emailing Sara, back in 2016 after the arrest, like, hey, could you talk to my attorney, John Lauro, and just say something good? And Sara's like, oh, I'm really just kind of taking care of me right now. Just like she was feeling uneasy about it. And she remembers early on, right after Dan was killed, she remembers Wendy crying, saying, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. Why would she be saying that? And Sara thought at first, oh, she must think she's going to be wrongfully accused. But now looking back on it, it's kind of like she got clarity, right? When you remove yourself from the situation, whether you're just joining or lurking, hit the like button. Yeah, thank you. Hey, Raul. There's an interview with a male who was friends with Charlie and Wendy in high school. He dated Wendy for a short time. Oh, yeah. Jared Ross, I think. Please arrest the despicable prostitute, Wendy. Yeah. By the time she cooked the oats, it was probably 10 a.m. when she ate them. Yeah, I know. I got that too. Like she ate oatmeal for lunch and then she went and for breakfast, and then she went and ate a whole delicious lunch. Like, I'm not hungry for lunch. It was weird how she talked about that. David Latt, he knew Dan. It was really insightful. Yeah, I'll find it when I'm going to pull up Phil Markel's victim impact statement. What happened was there was really bad audio. For any of y'all that are new followers, all I can tell you is the audio in Donna's trial was chef's kiss, because the audio in the previous trials, you'll see like from other recordings, was awful. And they finally did something about it. You think I'm feisty? Yeah. She'll be, I know, but I was just hoping she'd say, people are like, oh, you should have made up some reason to talk to her. But I didn't want to go under like a fake name or whatever. That's just not who I am. Where I get all my glasses. Thank you, Momo. I'm going to tell y'all, these are all readers. I wear contact lenses, so I have to wear readers. They're peepers, Peepers. And frankly, peepers should sponsor me, because I've been wearing readers for like 6 years. And I know sometimes people comment, your glasses do you no favors. They're too big. You look stupid. I don't really care. I like a big reader. But they're peepers. They're like $28 a pair. Sometimes they have sales where you can get like 2 pairs for $30-something. This style, they just discontinued. And so I bought a bunch on clearance. But thank you. I love a good reader. I have childhood best friends since we were in our mother's womb. Oh, that's sweet. Speed up your video, catch up, or jump in. Yeah. I'm just trying to go back through. The only reason it didn't work out at University of Miami is because they refused to hire Wendy along with Dan. So I'm going to read about that too. I know that's not really so much in the girlfriend thing, but that's always kind of been the rumor, but y'all are going to be surprised with what I tell you. Yeah, it's a great podcast. I agree. Stephen Epstein gets like legit incredible details. I love all his details. I really like his style. Sara was not impressed with the way Wendy would string her numerous boyfriends along. Yeah, no kidding. None of us are. There are some good stuff in the deep dive legal motions. And I want y'all to also know that, you know how I have recently been saying, I think Charlie was at Donna and Harvey's condo when Wendy made the call? He wasn't. I reread some stuff this weekend. I don't think he was, but I'm going to cover that later. I've got some really good stuff going on. Somebody else asked if I got any more responses from Tallahassee people. Not yet. I did have a couple of people email me today, but nothing like answering all those questions or about Miami and stuff. It might take a while to get some views, but I think eventually I'm going to start getting some details. I think I will. Oh, hey, Rebecca. Good to see you. Yeah, well, I mean, Wendy thought she was. And then I think what happened was, you know, nothing was going on in 2016. It was like a cold case almost. And that FBI bump was brilliant. And then it all started hitting the fan. A whole delicious lunch, Rebecca, right? Yeah, Michelle Peepers do. What does this mean? You can contact Papers and make them a sponsor. They don't have to contact you. Yeah. All right, let's watch Phil Markel's victim impact. Oh, so what I was saying earlier, the audio was awful in the courtroom, and I think he did that via Zoom. So this was at Charlie's sentencing. And so it was so bad on Zoom that somebody else had Phil re-record it. So we get a really good, clean copy of it. So I'm going to share that now.
Hello, everyone. I'm reading this victim impact statement as I did at the end of Charlie's trial. There were some technical problems with the original video portion of the recording, and the audio was not very clear. So I'm doing this so that one day my 2 grandchildren, Ben and Lincoln, can watch and listen to this victim impact statement on behalf of our Markel family. Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Phil Markel. I'm Dan Markel's father. Dan, my only son, was born on October 9th, 1972 in Montreal, Quebec. During that time in Quebec, husbands were not allowed to actually be in the delivery room during the child's birth. However, since the obstetrician was a close friend of ours, I was allowed to experience the most amazing moments, the birth of my son. I will never forget the emergence of his head and then the shoulders of an NFL fullback, a boy of 10 pounds. There I was holding in my arms this gift of life, a bundle, my bundle of sheer joy. From the time he was a child, my son had tremendous energy, intelligence, and great warmth. Dan had a vibrant, fun-loving personality, and he lived life to the fullest. Dan loved to socialize, dance, cook, entertain, and play sports. And he dedicated himself wholeheartedly to everything that he did. He would always look to do his utmost to improve and achieve better results in every activity he participated in. The desire of improvement and commitment to excellence was a defining characteristic of his short life. I fondly remember Dan taking skiing, I fondly remember taking Danny skiing up the hills in the Laurentian Mountains where we lived when he was 2 years old. He rode up the mountain between my legs, holding on to the T-bar, and then coming down the hill, yelling with great joy, "Faster, Daddy, faster!" Then, as he grew a little older and he played hockey at the local parks, to improve his skating skills, he requested to take skating lessons with a local coach from Russia, who had this reputation of being a very tough coach. Dan persevered, and after every hockey lesson, he came off the ice with a red face and totally out of breath, because he always gave it his all. At about the age of 13, Dan developed the idea that he was going to Harvard University. He discovered that the acceptance requirements for Harvard were not only good grades, but also work for the community and do charitable work. To achieve these goals, he revived his high school newspaper, became the newspaper's editor and business manager. He performed charitable deeds. He volunteered in the community. And after years of hard work and determination, Danny was accepted to Harvard. Dan later graduated from Harvard magna cum laude. He went on to study at Hebrew University in Jerusalem for 1 year. And then he earned a Master's of Philosophy and Political Theory from Emmanuel College at the University of Cambridge in England. He returned afterwards to Harvard Law School to earn his law degree and went on to become an extremely successful lawyer and an influential legal scholar. Dan served as a law clerk for a federal judge. He worked as an associate at a prestigious law firm in Washington, D.C., and then he secured a prestigious teaching position at FSU College of Law. In just a few short years, Dan became full tenured law professor before the age of 41. He co-authored a book and published many articles in highly regarded law reviews, journals, and newspapers like the New York Times. Dan's work was influential when he gave lectures and presented at universities all around the world. Although Dan was fond of his Canadian roots, he was very dedicated to the FSU Law School and the Tallahassee community. He was recognized as a scholar who contributed and made a difference in this world. While Dan's career was important to him, family meant everything to Danny. His marriage produced 2 boys, Benjamin and Lincoln, who were his absolute world, the loves of his life. Dan arranged his entire life around these 2 boys. He would arrange his teaching schedule, travel plans, exercise, activities all around his desire to spend as much time as possible with the 2 boys. He would meet them for breakfast at their preschool. He would sit in the middle of a circle with Benjamin and Lincoln and all their classmates and tell them stories, read, sing songs, all this as they ate breakfast. Benjamin and Lincoln were his pride and joy and meant everything to him. Danny made sure that he and the boys came to Montreal and Toronto to attend every family function and affair and visit with all the extended Markel family, including grandparents, uncles, aunts, and many numerous cousins. Despite the distance, Dan felt that the boys had to know and be a part of this family. Dan also made sure that he and the boys participated in the Tallahassee community and were involved with the local synagogue and neighborhood. Danny left home at the young age of 17 to go to Harvard, but he always came home for summer vacation, for holidays, and all family functions. Danny and I, despite the fact that we lived quite far apart, regularly communicated by text, email, and phone calls. And despite the physical distance, as time moved on, we grew ever more closer. At Dan's suggestion, we would talk and have a meal together at the appointed day and time. We each would prepare our meals, set our tables, and with a tablet in the middle, over Skype, we would sit together and enjoy each other's company for a couple of hours despite the actual distance. Dan's life was abruptly cut short, and he was forever taken from me, from his boys, and the rest of our family, and all his many friends and colleagues. My life has been in a total disarray since Danny's murder. Many nights I wake up in the middle of the night in a terrible sweat with thoughts of Dan's murder and all that has happened. There is not a single day in my life since Danny's death that in one way or another he does not enter my thoughts, and I miss him with all my heart. I'm constantly reminded of Dan's murder and his absence. When I meet new people, the topic of discussion always comes up, and they ask whether I have children. How do I respond? It's difficult to put into words the heinous acts that Dan took away from us and the unthinkable pain that I must live with every single day. Losing a son or a daughter is something I wish nobody should have to experience. It is not in the order of nature. Danny is never coming back. We continue to hope and pray for justice, the return to normalcy of seeing and playing a vital role in the lives of our 2 grandsons, Benjamin and Lincoln. It's been a number of years since I last wrote a victim impact statement, sharing how Danny's death has affected me. Despite our persistent efforts, we still do not have a real relationship with Danny's sons, Ben and Lincoln. Visits are very limited and carefully controlled. For 6 years, we were denied any and all visits with the boys or any communication whatsoever. In the last 2 years, I've permitted 2 60 to 90-minute supervised visits with them. This limited contact is incredibly painful, and I feel like we have been cut out of their lives. Not only have I lost my son, but I have effectively lost 2 of my grandkids as well. Even their family names have been changed from Markel to Adelson. While we worked hard to help introduce a new bill in the state of Florida, known as the Markel Act, this gives grandparents important rights. But unfortunately, our relationship with Ben and Lincoln has not been materially improved. As this bill was coming to fruition, there was a lot of negative publicity in the press and media about Dan's ex-wife, Wendy. In my opinion, Wendy was focused on improving her public image and as a result extended an invitation to Benjamin's bar mitzvah. Ruth and I were invited to attend only the ceremonial part of this important stage of a Jewish boy's life, and we were not invited to participate in any reception typical of this type of celebration. But this invitation opened the door to one of the last limited visits described above. In order not to overwhelm Ben and Lincoln on this important day, we asked to arrange a meeting for the bar mitzvah, before the bar mitzvah, in order to make things easier on the boys, who we haven't been allowed to visit in years. We were able to arrange a brief 90-minute supervised visit with Ben and Lincoln a few weeks before the bar mitzvah. However, immediately after our brief visit, Charlie was arrested, and Wendy rescinded our invitation to this bar mitzvah. At the time, she said that they were going to either postpone or completely cancel the bar mitzvah, but neither of these things happened. Instead, my understanding is the Adelsons went on to have the bar mitzvah ceremony and the party, all without the Markel family's presence or participation. Missing out on this important moment in Ben's life was incredibly painful. After so many years without Danny, we had hoped to make progress in forging a consistent relationship with his sons, but this still has many challenges. This is the year that Lincoln turned 13, the age of bar mitzvah. As yet, we have not been informed if and when he will have a bar mitzvah, nor if we will be invited to participate in this very important time of Lincoln's life. I have very little hope that we will be allowed to participate. This important cycle event. Danny's murder brought his life abruptly to an end for no sensible reason and has affected a countless number of people. The legal community is deprived of Dan's wisdom and ideas, which made the world a better place. Dan's students are deprived of experience of having Dan as a brilliant professor and caring mentor, showing them a path to their future. Dan's colleagues can no longer benefit from his friendship, his insights, his scholarly discussions, and debates. Ruth and I have been deprived of our son, who was taken away from us so suddenly and totally against life's schedule. Ben and Lincoln must go through life without their father, who loved them with all his being. The boys have been deprived of their father's entire family. After Dan's murder, we have no idea of what these two boys know or have been told about Danny's death. I truly believe they've been brainwashed in all these years from the ages of 3 and 4 years of age to the present day. I also have no idea what the boys know of us, the Markel family, any history, and especially how much we all love them and how we wish they were an active part of our family. Both Ruth and I are approaching 80 years of age. At this moment, we are healthy, but one does not know what tomorrow brings. The wheels of justice turn very, very slowly, but so far, at least, they are still turning. We are very, very grateful to the Tallahassee law enforcement, to the state attorney and all their staff, to all our relatives and friends, including the hundreds of Danny's friends and colleagues around the world, for their constant support over these long 10 years. To all the podcasters who work so hard to keep alive this unbelievable story. We are still waiting for Benjamin and Lincoln to have a more normal relationship with the Markel family, as we wait in pain and true anguish. The Adelson family, in particularly Charlie Adelson, has been a major cause of our heartbreak and the murder of our son, Danny, and the loss of our 2 grandsons. I have suffered tremendously, and we as a family continue to suffer. It is satisfying to see justice being done, and it would be appropriate to ask the maximum sentence for the perpetrators of Danny's murder. Thank you. Today is a good day.
Isn't that just amazing? When you watch that, and I think it was Tater that said it, and I completely agree. Georgia is not giving up, y'all. I mean, you hear those words. She's got it in her blood. She wants Wendy. And I know we have to be patient, and it's really hard. Yeah, Phil Markel is so impressive. I do very much worry about, really more so, I think, Ruth, living long enough to have a relationship with those boys. I mean, what are they now, 16 and 15? So they'll be 18. So a couple things will happen. The Social Security money will stop. And technically they're an adult. And if they want to reach out to them and talk without her orchestrating and standing over that for their FaceTime, they can. It's just, it's unnerving. I spoke with somebody today that we'll be interviewing later. I'll just say psychiatry background. But I asked, don't kids usually figure stuff out like this? And he said, no, majority do not. And that really shocked me. Now, I also said, though, could that change with technology and everything today, especially something as public as this? And there's just so much documented. I think it's a little different case. What, Tater, are you saying May? Are you saying May for the arrest? But I think that was it with Sara Youssef. So she was in Miami, but now she's out in California. She was probably like, yeah, I'm getting far away from Wendy. But just keep in mind, she's been kind of pulled, doubting Wendy. But after she saw Phil Markel and heard those words, she reached out. And I think that is powerful and good for her. I love that. So next, we're going to go to Jane, everyone's favorite. But so I did find the part in this podcast, The Original Jurisdiction with David Latt, who was at Harvard with Dan Markel. So he interviewed Steve Epstein, the author of Extreme Punishment. And so David Latt asks Steve Epstein in this podcast, this is the transcript, one thing people will be curious about is, did you reach out to or hear from Wendy Adelson, Dan's ex-wife, who some have suspected of involvement in the murder? Other people disagree, but did you ever hear from her? Stephen Epstein says, yes, I did. So I actually have these emails in front of me because I want to get it exactly accurate. At some point, I wanted to reach out to Wendy's circle of friends, which was a lot smaller than Dan's, and easily identify who the people were who I needed to talk to. The first person I reached out to is a woman named Jane McPherson, who was a PhD candidate in the School of Social Work at Florida State. Why did I want to talk to her? She actually wound up in the interrogation room with Wendy. We know it was really more of an interview room the day Dan was shot. And she was there for about half an hour. And some of what happened during that time was very significant. So I wanted to talk with her. I also wanted to talk with somebody who was a professor on the main campus named Daniel Sack. I didn't realize he was a professor at FSU until I read this. Ironically, Daniel Sack, this was the one that Wendy was having coffee with, and Jeff Lacoste walked in and saw them. Daniel Sack became Wendy's boyfriend not long after she broke up with Dan Markel. So I think he was the one that Wendy said when she filed the divorce that their friendship turned to something romantic after a month. Yeah. So I reached out to both Daniel Sack, who by that point was a professor in Massachusetts, and Jane McPherson, who I think at that point was a professor in Georgia. She got the heck out of FSU because everybody was ticked off at her because their emails were very accessible from the faculty websites. I began both emails, and this is significant, my apology for the intrusion. Each of the emails I started that way and explained who I was, explained I was working on a book about Dan Markel. I didn't hear from either of them. This was in March of 2021, and it was a Saturday. So that Monday morning at 10:53 a.m., I had this surprise email in my inbox. And all I could see in my inbox was the only name of the person sending me the email. And the subject line I saw, the name was Wendy Adelson. And the subject line was central character. And it began, Dear Steve, and here are the magic words, my apology for the intrusion, which right away I found to be somewhat passive aggressive. No, you think Wendy's passive aggressive? It's quite clear she was literally stealing my words that I used in the emails to her friends, Jane McPherson and Daniel Sack. She continued, my apology for the intrusion, but my friends, and I knew who they were, have contacted me about your interview request. As a central character in your writing, I am curious why you haven't contacted me. Most sincerely, Wendy. As if we were on a first name basis. So they had never had communication until that point. She is implicated. Certainly her family is implicated in the murder. There's no way she's going to talk to me. So I didn't reach out to her. And I literally said in response to her email, calling her bluff, and I knew it was a bluff. I said, I don't think you would talk to me, but if you're interested in talking to me, of course I would love to talk to you. And I won't talk with you about anything related to the murder. I'm interested in your background. I'm interested in growing up in Coral Springs, the relationship you had with your brothers. I'm interested in your appearance on The Weakest Link. So if you're interested in talking about those things, by all means, let's chat. And not surprisingly, I never heard another word from Wendy. So then he said, you know what? I'm going to reach out to her again. So he did in October of 2021. Some 7 months had passed since my interaction with Wendy. She responded within 15 minutes and said, Steve, you do not have my consent to use my identity and trauma for your own profit. Best, Wendy. So I thought y'all might find that interesting. I liked hearing that. I had read it a long time ago, but I had forgotten about it. So now we're going to watch Jane McPherson, and it'll just make your blood boil. It does mine. And then I'm also, actually, I think before, so Jane was at the College of Social Work, and she did this project called 1 Million Bones. I almost said raise your hands if you know, because that's what I always say in presentations. But she was on this local Tallahassee news about her project, 1 Million Bones in Tallahassee. So let's listen.
Thanks, Sean. And joining me today, Jane McPherson, to talk about some upcoming events to bring hope and awareness to genocide actually happening across the world today. First of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you and hear about these events coming up. Tell me what's going on.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is put clay in your hand.
Yeah, awesome. Okay.
So this is the 1 Million Bones Project, and I think the best way to tell you about it is to tell you about the 4 events that we have coming up.
Absolutely.
So every bone that you're making right now.
Okay, so I'm making a bone.
You know, all these bones are raising $1 through a partnership with Students Rebuild for survivors of genocide and other forms of mass violence in Congo and Sudan and Somalia and around the world. So what we're doing this weekend are 2 big events. My students from the College of Social Work at FSU have organized an event tomorrow in Tallahassee under a big live oak at the corner of Gaines and Meridian, which was the site of 4 lynchings between 1897 and 1937. So they're doing, I think, a really brave event that both looks backward and forward towards people around the world who are being murdered for their race, their ethnicity, their religion.
So again, we are just going over Wendy's 3 friends, former friends. We don't know what the status is, but this is Jane McPherson. We're on the 3rd one. And she met Wendy at Florida State University, and she was in the interview room that day with Isom. And it's very telling. So keep in mind, she's a social worker, but she did a project called 1 Million Bones, and she was on the Tallahassee news about it. So I'm just showing this first.
And then on Sunday, we have more of a family event at Lemoyne Art Foundation. They are generously opening their gorgeous gardens to us, and we'll be making bones there from 10 to 2 on Sunday. They're serving lemonade, and I think that should be a really cool event. And the purpose of these...
They're serving lemonade. Oh my God, I'm going to go. They're serving lemonade. Why did she say that? They're serving lemonade, and we're going to have bones all over the sidewalk.
Bones. I mean, this is obviously, it's a visual spectacle. This is a national project, 1 Million Bones. And our purpose is to call attention to this form of violence through art. So right now we've created in Tallahassee about 3,600 of these bones. We hope to have 5,000 or $5,000 by the end of April, April 28th, and we will be installing all of these bones in Bloxham Park.
Wow, that is so cool. I love it. And it's called 1 Million Bones. Was that the ultimate goal?
That is the ultimate goal. So as I say, you know, April 28th in Tallahassee, we hope we'll have 5,000, but there'll be similar events in state capitals around the country. And all of us will be bringing all of our bones to Washington, D.C. in April of 2013.
I love it. Mine does not look like a bone. I'm not sure.
Well, you know, this is what we learned about Americans.
It doesn't look like a bone, right, John?
Is a lot of us make dog biscuits, but even the symbolic bone raises the dollar for survivors.
Okay, cool.
So you don't have to be an artist.
I'm trying the best I can.
Yeah, you just, it's a gift you can give, even with your, you know.
Right, even with my non-artistic ability.
I should be really good at this by now. I'm not really good at it.
No, yours look awesome. I'm just going to say, this one's mine. See how good I do at this kind of stuff before and after. Now, finally, tell me where people can get more.
I think John was referring to something phallic. Is that the right word?
Information so
oh,
they can get out and
please.
get
I
involved.
would love for them to come to our Facebook page, 1 Million Bones Tallahassee on Facebook, or to Google it. I'm also available at Million Bones Tallahassee on yahoo.com. The College of Social Work has been great. We're on their website. So
we have all that information that you need right there on your screen, plus the events that are coming up. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, when we come back, Anna Manuel's going to have a look at what's coming up tonight.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Jane. That was great. It's great. Yes, you're right, Veggie Girl. I did catch that in the last trial. I think when Georgia was asking Wendy about Jane being in the interview room, and she says, you have a friend named Jane, and Wendy says, like, I had a friend named Jane, which I thought was interesting. I was going to share, I pulled up her CV and I just kind of scrolled down because it had like the address of the college in Georgia, and I didn't want YouTube to. What year was this bone event? Let me see. Looks like 2013. It was 2012 is when that was aired. So, yeah. Okay. So this is her. So as y'all notice a trend, Wendy is just friends with like all these people in academia, and they're just a bunch of word salad, right? But I just was always shocked with how inappropriate Jane is in this interview and what her background is. But so we know Dan was murdered in 2014. And then Jane, of course, is like, oh, Jeff Lacoste, you need to look at him. You need to look at him. And pretty much everybody at FSU then later heard that Jane had said that, and they all just blackballed her. And the next year she went to UGA. Now, I do want y'all to know, yeah, she did. She left in 2015, and she's been at UGA since. And I called her last week or the week before. And it's weird. She doesn't have like a direct line on her website. So I called the College of Social Work, and a lady answered, and I said, may I speak with Dr. Jane McPherson? And the lady said, yes, I can transfer you to her, but if you get her voicemail, please leave a message so she can call you back. And I just thought that was strange. Like in 2025, I mean, obviously, if you get a voicemail, you leave a message. But she didn't even have a greeting. And at my office, I mean, I have a greeting. Hi, you've reached Leslie. Da, 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 da. So my take on that, this is just my assumption, is that she probably gets a lot of people calling and she screens calls, is my bet. That's what I think. I think she screens the calls. But I didn't leave a message because I'm like, what's the point? But maybe I should try again. I don't know. So I don't know if she's still friends with Jane. I don't know. All right. Let me see. We saw the 1 million bones. I've already forwarded the interview to the Jane McPherson part. So we're going to watch that. She's insufferable. When I used to watch all these different channels that played this interview, I would have to like mute it or not watch it. But you have to see it.
Yes, does she know what's going on? Do Alden and Lynn know what's going on?
I think they know that he's been.
What?
I don't.
Hi, honey. Oh dear. Oh, Wendy. I really needed some help, but I'm sorry, I needed to call you. Okay, sweetie. Did they tell you? They didn't tell me. I know. There's things on the news? It is on the news, but I don't know anything. I know there was a shooting in Danny's block this morning. That's all I know. That's all I know. Oh dear. Oh, honey. You know how he is? He's not good, Jane. Really? I was driving up the street and I saw like the tape and I just thought, oh, maybe there's like an electrical outage or something. Like I saw this.
Literally goes into the Trescott story. I don't even think it's been a minute. Immediately.
Street blocked. So I was driving into town. I was running errands. I was meeting some friends for lunch, and I drove up Trescott because it's the shortcut.
And so I drive up Trescott and I see the tape and I was like, I guess there was like an electrical outage because sometimes we'd have trees that would fall or whatever. And so I turned around and didn't think anything of it. I was at lunch with 2 friends and the officer shows up. And I've been here since then.
And you don't have a phone?
Well, I had a phone. I gave them, I said you can search my phone because maybe they can like find something useful on it.
We have to go through a lot of these steps, and that's
Of course,
explaining to her. It's just as much effort to go.
I just want to say too, watch Isom. You can tell he cannot stand Jane. And I love it at the end. He's like, yeah, it's time to go.
Through the steps to exclude anybody that could possibly be
Well,
involved.
of course, yeah.
Mhm.
So we have her phone as soon as it's apparently it's taking a little bit longer than normal. And as soon as we get done with the phone, she'll get it back.
Yeah.
So but the main thing I was concerned about is the kids need to be picked up
Well,
on
exactly.
Friday.
Right.
And so when I came and they said they'd spoken to the Grossmans,
Yeah.
I was like, I'll get the kids. I'm a
Right.
social worker. I've picked up kids that don't know me before, but I
Right.
think
I
especially given this.
I gave them your name and Lynn's name
Right.
and said, I think
Tennis. So I don't think it's ever come out in a trial, but when mentor lawyer interviewed Isom recently, that came up, and I believe he said they got an emergency something to ping her cell phone.
like Alan and Lynn have done it. Like when Dan
That's how they
had
found her.
surgery, Alan and Lynn did it before. So because I was out
Right.
of town,
And
so
they
like
have, right.
they've
they
done
have.
it before. They've got 4 kids, so they can.
I have, you're gonna be here for a while. You want me to
I think
sit?
so.
So, like, I might have a blanket in my car or something.
Do we have anything
Do you have
here, or have
something
they all been
for
used?
somebody who could get?
Let me check.
This
see
woman
that
is
it's good enough for
freezing.
her.
And I apologize, I thought about that when she was shivering earlier, but I guess got a lot of stuff. going
No,
on.
there's clearly there's
It's not really the most
it
important
isn't,
thing
it's
right now.
not the most important
No,
thing.
no, I saw her shivering and I kept thinking I'll go out and find out if they had a bunch of them. They had a bunch of them, but I don't know what's still available.
So what do you mean he's not good? What do you know about this?
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Oh my God. Really? Oh,
I don't know how I'm gonna tell the kids.
I know.
Let's put that on.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thanks.
I think the reason they had her come down there, they needed somebody to get the boys. And my understanding is Jane was going to do it. So I think she was going to get the car seats. But then while she was there, I think Wendy's like, I could use a hug or some crap. So they let her come in there, which is very unusual and should not have happened. But then meanwhile, Wendy's like, well, Jane doesn't really know the kids and I'd rather Lynn do it. So that's my understanding.
You really know that? You know that?
What's that? I'm sorry.
You know that they don't think he's gonna make it through this? Oh,
You're not gonna make it.
really? He's a TMH right now?
And I was asking because I thought maybe he would, and I wanted
Right.
I wanted the kids to be
This-
with him if like he was
No,
okay.
Okay. And he has family and stuff like that, but something.
We don't have any
No.
family here in
No, it's-
Canada.
Right, I know, but I mean,
There's no family here.
They don't.
girlfriend, anybody come down, nothing?
Amy, I don't know if Amy knows yet. I don't have Amy's phone number.
Amy's on
Oh.
Facebook.
I'll contact her later.
She's on Facebook. I mean, she can be found.
Yeah.
That always cracks me up, that quote. I'm going to do a short one day. Amy's on Facebook. Amy can be found. Like, wow, profound investigator there, Jane.
I was thinking of one more thing. This is really tangential, but his friend I told you about, Matt Price,
Right.
his wife's brother was killed. So if you're gonna call someone first, Matt's gonna lose it. So
I don't intend on calling Matt. I just
Okay.
need to have the background on different associates and friends and so
Right.
Yeah.
forth. You know, my objective is to find out who did this. So based on what you've told me, I'm gonna take that information, compile it with other information that other investigators have worked on, and we'll see where it leads.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying anybody that you told me about is any way involved.
Is there
I
any
don't know.
sign of stuff being stolen from the house?
I can't discuss that.
Okay.
So,
But you are discussing that you don't think he's gonna live.
I'm telling you a fact that I know he's not gonna live.
I think Isom just wants to hand it to her. Like, I'm telling you a fact.
He's not gonna live.
No, this is all part of it. We have to
So,
watch.
Is he dead? No.
well, I already discussed that with her. He has enough injury that's traumatic enough that he's not gonna be able to recover from it.
Oh, shoot. Okay, Momo, I've been reading some comments on that. Does anybody else think Jane was in on this? I don't. I just think she'd been so manipulated by Wendy, and Wendy knew what she was doing, manipulating her, and Jane just fell right into it. Mhm.
Did Lynn already go get the boys?
Yes.
What's happening right now is Lynn's on her way here. She doesn't have car seats.
Uh,
Gonna take the car seats out of your van, put them in Lynn's vehicle, and she's gonna go directly to Creative Preschool,
she has a key to my house, so she can.
pick up the kids. If I get a chance to, when she arrives, I will talk to her briefly and basically tell her, let's wait on discussing anything with the children.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would do that anyway.
Yeah. I wonder if it would be better if she didn't know. Like if you.
That's fine.
Just so that because she's gonna be done. Like, what if she can't then drive and go get the boys? Like.
Okay, but let me just say to you, I didn't know anything when I came here. So my husband Googles and says there was a shooting on Trescott Drive this morning at 11.
I got a call from my real estate agent who heard something.
So
Oh, somebody asked earlier about the realtor, and someone had reported the realtor call was around 2:00 something that day. So no, Wendy had driven down Trescott like 12:30ish.
I know that I didn't know why I was coming here, but anybody with more sense would have known that.
John told you that
Yes.
when you told him you were coming here? Or?
No, they found John. Interestingly, they found John's cell phone number.
They found me eating lunch. I don't know how that happened. I'm fascinated still.
We have ways of finding.
Yeah, it's interesting. So they called my husband's cell phone, and he was like, here she is. Talk to her, and they said you needed me at the police department, so I came. It was not a.
What did you think I needed you for?
I wasn't thinking it was good news, but I didn't. My thought was that Danny had probably assaulted you. That was my thought.
I think that was Lisa's thought when she's like, I heard there was a shot on Trescott, and so I hope you're okay.
See, Wendy wanted Jane to say that. She's like, well, what did you think it was? What did you think? And she, oh, yeah. I'm so abused. I thought Danny did this.
Okay.
So that.
The realtor.
Yeah.
So that was my, but this scenario, which is now not seeming real to me, didn't seem like was not what I thought of.
I just keep picturing the kids.
Right. No. So there's no point in doing that. Don't do that.
So Jane was at Florida State from, I'm looking at her CV. It says, well, she was there 2003 to 2014. And then Wendy moved there in 2006. So I'm guessing they known each other a little bit.
So
when Lynn gets here, I'm gonna just ask her to take the kids to her house. Would that be
Instead of my
reasonable?
house?
I think that's much better.
Reasonable?
Is that better? She has a TV. They can watch TV.
Yeah,
I know, but
Yes.
they've been there before.
A bunch.
Yeah,
they're
take them
very
there.
comfortable there.
They
Take
have
them
children of their own.
They've got 4 kids. They're grown, but
take them there.
okay. Yeah.
Because
I'm gonna go make sure that I don't miss her.
Okay.
thank you.
Lynn Grossman, right?
This is Sara, by the way.
Hi, Sarah. Are you a victim advocate?
I am.
Oh, listen to this. Sara, the victim advocate. Oof, she is like fangirling over these two social worker people.
I said you used to be a victim advocate. Was I
That's
right?
not true. Yeah, I've done lots of stuff like that.
I recognize your name, and then she explained.
What's your last name?
Latour. I've only been here about 2.5 years.
I am losing my shit.
Well, that would be appropriate. I think you should do that. I think if you don't do that, that's
Jane,
not right.
who would have done this?
I have
You-
no
Are they
idea.
going to come after my kids? Or me? Who's next?
Is Jeff this much of a lunatic?
I don't even think of Jeff. I hope to God not.
May I ask who Jeff is?
Yeah, of
Yeah, I
course.
think you should. I think Wendy's been seeing a guy called Jeff.
Who's a friend of Jane's.
Does anyone else think that's weird how Jane says, Wendy's been seeing a guy called Jeff? Why wouldn't you say she's been seeing a guy, Jeff, called Jeff? I found that weird.
And
Who's jealous?
yeah.
Are you still currently seeing him, or just something you kind of
Well,
let taper off?
it's
maybe?
been a bad week.
Okay.
Yeah, Jane and I actually went for a walk together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, early this week.
Earlier this week, but you've taken a 1 week break from
I took
Jeff.
a 1 week break from communication with Jeff to figure out what to do.
Okay.
Because we've been dating for like 9 months, like 10 months a year.
And when you use the word dating to you, is that's my boyfriend, or is it more of just dating, like the casual? Okay.
No, like, he was my boyfriend and involved with the kids, and I mean, yeah. And we had kind of a fight recently, and he's been trying to get back together, and I didn't know if I wanted to, and so he actually, the morning that I gave that talk, my boys were there and Jeff was watching them, so I could give the talk. Like he's, Jane, do you think I have to tell them about him?
I think you
guess.
have to tell them about him because that is the only,
God forbid.
the only thing that I can imagine.
Yeah, I think if Isom had said, well, he's been shot, but he's at the hospital and he's still alive. I mean, like, I think he could have gotten Wendy to be like, oh my God, it was my mom and Charlie. I think they could have gotten it out of her.
Related to you, related to Danny. would be
The only
Jeff.
thing I could come up with was like his girlfriend Amy is recently divorced, separated, not really
Sure,
divorced. Like,
sure. So
what if-
either of those people.
like the jealous boyfriend types, like what if the ex-husband?
Right, totally. And you know that this divorce has been very stressful, and Jeff has been very stressed out by the stressfulness of your divorce. You know,
I mean, I'll tell them this, right? Like, can you tell them?
And when investigator Isom comes back, you guys can just, stay, and he'll ask all the questions that investigators ask that I don't think of very often because I'm a victim advocate and I don't think of
right.
things.
But I think you do have to tell him about him.
I wasn't
You weren't
not
thinking
telling
of
on
him.
purpose.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I wasn't thinking of it. I just kept thinking like, who in the world?
Is he someone that has
Yeah, Wendy wanted Jane there to mention Jeff for sure. And because, she had laryngitis that week and she couldn't talk to Dan, but by God, she went on a walk and a talk with Jane and told her all about Jeff. And Jeff is jealous. I don't think Jane knew that Wendy was out, doing other guys.
access to?
He's a professor of social work.
Okay.
He's
All right.
former military.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But he's
you
not-
don't think about this guy as like, oh.
Susan, yes, when Jeff Lacoste, good point. When he said Wendy locked herself out of the house and then was like, oh, I'll have to call locksmith, but then mysteriously got in or whatever. I think she had all those keys made so that everybody would have access to her house. Like in the event that she was being questioned or whatever. I don't totally know, but it was definitely pre-planned. Like she had the receipt for the locksmith or the key maker in her purse.
There's the kind of guy.
Right.
I mean, I would more just say that maybe you did this.
Right.
It's just relationally, he's jealous.
Right.
something is bad, this or that. I'm
Something is bad.
I'm just assuming that this isn't true for the moment, but I guess that's not so.
And you have to look at it this way. Telling them this, if anything, will help them disqualify.
Right. That's
Yeah.
important to do.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to give them his number?
I mean, I can give them.
They have
I
my
give them-
phone, so-
they certainly have a ton of stuff from him. So I
Mhm.
Googled Trescott shooting.
Thank you for being here. So you Googled Trescott shooting, and what do you see?
Yeah, Jane was actually a student of Jeff's, or whatever they call that for PhD stuff. But yeah, they all knew each other in the College of Social Work at FSU. And so then after they realized Jane was throwing Jeff under the bus, everyone like blackballed her at Florida State. And so she left. But yes, Jeff and Jane were friends.
Just that, police investigate shooting on Trescott Drive.
And it's on the news.
And unfortunately, the media here tends to get places, and they can't really stop them from being outside.
How often is there shooting in like northeast Tallahassee, right?
On Trescott Drive,
On
not so
Trescott?
often.
This is what I can't figure out. How did he get to the hospital? Like, did he call
No,
911?
a neighbor, according to WCTV, here.
And this should be said, the police department won't release his name until they notify
the family.
And them being in Canada puts a little bit more of a wrench into our notification because it's a little bit more difficult to do internationally. But we're in the process.
And there's really, his injuries are really terrible.
The police got notified because a neighbor. Is it a picture of the house? Oh my God! You can see the car. You can't
Right.
tell it's our house.
Well, yeah, right.
You
You can't tell it's not your house. It certainly appears to be a house like your house.
And they say the 2100 block of Trescott Drive. It must be still blocked off. I bet it's going to be blocked off for a while.
It's certainly a crime scene, obviously a crime scene.
But it's like a thorough. I mean, a lot of people use that as like a drive-through.
Now, these other people obviously know about this. Danny did show up places today.
I don't know that he had anywhere to show up today. Did he? Like, did you know? Because like it's summertime, he works from home, right?
Right, but there are people. But imagine if any of us fall off the grid from 11 o'clock this morning. Any colleagues?
That had a meeting or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
all of the stuff he does over phone.
Right. Well, he and I were supposed to talk about where Ben was going to school, and it was very unlike him that I was the one who had to call him. So like he called early this morning. I had a repair guy at the house, and he called early this morning, and I left a message, and then I called him back. I have the phone record. He called at like 9. And he told me he went to Premiere. So he says, I don't know, like, I think he went straight from dropping off the boys to go to Premiere. And then he said, I'm going to do an exercise class that gets out at 10:15 or 10:30, and then we can talk after that. You remember how I had a voice thing? Like, I hadn't talked to him. He was like, I know your voice is bad. Like, does today work? And he said we could go for a walk at the law school, or we could talk, like, and I have this message on my phone from him, which is why I said to the officer, there's no way he did this to himself. Like, zero chance that he shot himself. Danny.
I think there's zero chance.
Zero chance.
Danny would kill himself.
Yes, zero chance. Like someone did this to him. So he had plans that we would he said this at 9, like, we'll take a walk, we'll figure this out, we'll talk about school. And then I called him at like 11:45 or so and left a message. And that was, I thought weird, but I thought whatever, like,
and you
meeting
probably thought, oh good, I don't have to talk to him. But
I was really anxious about speaking with him and having this be a
So inappropriate.
contentious issue about where
Which
our
of course
kid
it
gonna go to
is.
school.
Oh my God.
And I didn't hear from him, and I didn't think too much of it. I just thought, like, well, they'll just call me later. And then at around noon, I had lunch plans at 1, and I was supposed to go to a friend's engagement party tonight, and it's called a Stack the Bar engagement. So I went to go find bourbon. So I went to drive to ABC Liquors, and I went to go through Trescott, and it was blocked off. So I went around.
Speaking of, real quick, Wendy talking about going to buy the bourbon. So I'm listening to Extreme Punishment. I just never could read it, although I've had the book on my nightstand for 2 years. And he talks a lot about Dan drinking bourbon. So I'm guessing Dan liked bourbon. So I just can't help but think it was just another like F you to Dan. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I thought it was interesting.
And then I looked for bourbon, and then I got gas. That's why I was trying to show the officer, like, I have receipts from all these things, but I don't know if it matters if they're at noon. I mean, obviously, like, I would be one of the people that they would think did it.
Well, you have certainly the most contentious relationship with Danny that anyone has.
Debbie, they record these for YouTubers. No, they record them because it's just so much information. And if you saw in Donna's trial, Georgia has this on her laptop with headphones and she's listening to it. And just think about all the information. This is the only time we ever hear Wendy talk other than her testifying in trials.
Has.
Yeah.
You know, but
They swabbed my hands.
well, fair enough.
Gunpowder.
They should.
They asked me if I washed my hands since noon, and I was embarrassed to say I hadn't. I don't remember when I last washed my hands.
Oh God. Yeah, no, I think Jeff is somebody that they should talk to. And I don't know of anyone else.
They were asking, like, does he have gambling debt? Does he have? And I'm like, the only person he owes money to is me. Like, there's no one. He's like, he's a straight shooter, right? Like, he's not an alcoholic. He's not a gambler. He doesn't have a sex addiction. He doesn't, you know, like, he doesn't have any like weird stuff going on in his life.
No, he's a difficult guy, but he's not.
That's what he was saying. He's like, is there anyone that hates him? And I'm like, he's difficult, but he's difficult in like an ivory tower kind of way.
He's not liked, but he's not.
He's not liked, but he's not.
Okay, Jack in the Forest. How old are Rob's kids? I don't know exactly. I would guess 12, 13, 14-ish, maybe. I don't know. Dan's sister, Shelly, is married and she's got, I think, is it 3 kids? She's an attorney also. Who do the Markel boys have if they pass away? You know, those boys are older now. So, I mean, the youngest one will be 18 in 3 years. So I don't think it's, I mean, I don't think it's going to be the Markels that get those boys. But I don't think anything would happen custody wise unless Wendy was convicted. But that's why many people speculate something with George. We just don't know. And we won't know unless she's arrested.
He does, certainly not. And he has people who love him.
How do his students feel? Like, is he, like, are law students receptive to him? Like, oh, this is a great.
I think there's some that really like his method, and there are a lot who don't like him at all.
So you say he's more disliked?
He's a very abrasive guy.
Does he challenge you, kind of? Would that be a good?
He's challenging. He loves to argue, so he's fairly elitist. So like the students,
very elitist. Oh my
students
goodness.
felt like put down by him a lot.
Listen to these two. Oh, he's elitist. What the hell do they think they are? Oh.
And so they feel like insecure but again, we're not talking about like hateful and awful. We're talking about like difficult.
Right.
You know?
Right. And he has colleagues who really don't like him.
But not enough to.
But this is a different, right. It's a
like,
different, right.
They don't like him. They don't want to go to lunch with him. Right.
Yeah, no.
He doesn't make friends easily, but it's not like he makes a ton of
And he has and he has very close connections at the temple.
That's what I said.
I mean,
he's got Jewish community and like
he's important in the Jewish community, and he's loved, and he's
and they're
serious academic.
2 Jewish temples in Tallahassee, or just one?
kind of complicated. There's Temple
three, at
Israel,
least.
which is the Reform Synagogue. There's Shomer Torah, which is the conservative one that he belonged to.
Okay.
And then there's Chabad, which is sort of like, it's not really clear. It's kind of like a proselytizing thing. And he would donate money there and bring the kids to events there and spend time there. So he was sort of affiliated with 2 of them and bring the kids to stuff at Temple Israel too.
I mean, he's very, very connected across the Jewish community.
Yeah, he's very involved.
He's also very he had a major Jewish education, so he's extremely knowledgeable about Judaism, and he cares deeply about how people interpret scripture and law and rule and practice, and he's involved in all those sort of debates at the community level, and he's very it would be hard to overestimate how involved he has been in the Jewish community. He has a lot of connections.
And it was kind of one of the reasons why we got divorced.
I just realized Jane is rubbing Wendy like a paralegal or whatever rubbed
Just,
Donna
I
in
just
the trial.
like, I'm Reform, I'm kind of culturally Jewish. Like we just had really different religious perspectives. In the middle of a fucking nightmare.
I didn't want you to be married to him, but this was not the method.
Well, that's what I said
Not
to
the
the
method.
officer. I was like, we had a rough time, but
This has been a terrible
he's
time.
the father of my children.
Right.
And things were entering a new phase where he has this girlfriend and he's out of town a lot, and that was nice. That's why I know there's just, I mean, given his personality and everything, there's no way that he did this.
No, he didn't.
He had
didn't
plans
do
to be out of town. He was leaving on
And
Saturday.
he was
Like,
delighted with Amy, and he's been delighted with this.
Delighted.
And delighted with the boys, and delighted with.
no,
with-
he didn't do this. So somebody did.
I mean, he was angry and upset about the divorce. Really, really angry at Wendy. Really, really angry. But really pleased with how things were going to go
It's been
forward.
2 years and things for him were a lot better.
Do you mind if I get Investor Isom to kind of tell him about Jeff?
I think you should do that.
Let me go grab him.
I can't believe you brought your own drink here.
Well, I wasn't
I love this when Sarah leaves the room and then they're all like, oh my God.
sure how long I would be here. I was
Shut up.
thirsty. I had just arrived home to pour, say, a glass of wine when they called and said, don't you want to go to the police department? I said, Jane, no, not really.
You believe me that I didn't do this, right?
I assume you didn't do this, but
I wish I had I was home working on a paper that's due.
well, you'll
I
have.
sent it in, like I sent edits to
You'll
someone.
have.
I hope they have the time log.
Of course they will. Of course they will. All of that is evident. You will. You don't.
I understand why they think it would be me, but
Of course it would be you. But it's not you.
Of course.
Even Jeff would be my vote. Now, again, just going by, likely. I agree with you.
There'd be an accident.
He didn't do this. Jeff,
I hope nobody did.
I know Jeff didn't do it, but I don't think Danny did.
Somebody shot Danny.
Like, to death. Holy shit.
I didn't even know that he was still living. Sara told me that, and then I started freaking out and was like, I want to get the boys over there. Like, is he scary looking? Because I want, like, if he's not going to be dead, but he's okay. Or he's not, like, I wanted the boys to be able to be with him.
Shouldn't somebody be with him?
I know, that's what I said. I was like, he's there and he's full alone. Like, I was like, is he with?
Shouldn't somebody who loves him?
Yes. Should I go? Someone needs to go there.
I know.
He's by himself.
Really, he's by himself.
I don't think they haven't called the family yet. They haven't called his parents. They were like, what are his parents' names? They're asking me.
How about the rabbi?
Oh, that's a really good idea.
How about the rabbi?
Can you ask them?
Yeah, we'll do that right now.
So there's no rabbi at Shomri, but Rabbi Schnoyer Oyerman, that's really his name. He, him or Jack Romberg.
They need to go.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yes, especially if he's not gonna make it, so that they
He needs
can.
to be blessed.
if
My
they can-
God, he needs a blessing.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for being here. I was sitting in this room by myself, losing my mind. I was at lunch with Janine and Ritu. I don't know if you know them, friends of mine, and these officers walk in, and we just finished, I ate a lunch, like I had a whole delicious lunch, and they're like, are you Wendy? We need to speak with you. And I was like, oh my God, are the boys okay? Like, and they were like, the boys are fine. And then I thought, oh my God, like,
What's
what's
that
going on?
fine?
Like, who's finding me here? And they wouldn't tell me. And so he said, I need you to get in the car. And so he drove me, and I started I just was like, what's going on? And they're like, your husband. And I said, ex-husband. And they're like, ex-husband? So they didn't have the, like,
Well, how do they know? They're just starting this.
so they thought we were still married. And so I was telling him everything, and then I was thinking, oh my God, now they probably think I'm a suspect. I should.
But of course you're a suspect, and you're a smart suspect. You should be the suspect. But you're not gonna get framed for a crime,
Right.
and it is in your absolute.
I think they could definitely depose Jane. I think, have a deposition to see what she says. I mean, I would. Somebody asked you, how did Donna hook up Wendy with Dan? So they were on that J-Date, Jewish dating website. And Donna was looking for some good genes to have smart grandchildren with.
Interest to in every way,
Tell them
everything, because to the extent that if they don't know whoever did, if this goes unsolved, that's the worst thing for your
So
boys.
many things, Jane. Like, do you think whoever did this is going to come after the kids?
I'm very worried about that, and I think
I don't want to be like left alone in that. Like, I want protection. I'm scared. I don't know who this is. I don't.
Okay, well, I mean, you should maybe go and stay. I think you should go stay. Can you go to Lynn and David's?
Ellen, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
They have
should.
lots of bedrooms. I could just.
You
stay
should.
there
I
for
mean,
a
the
little
boys
bit.
are there.
Yeah.
And
I need to pick up a
They
few
need-
things. Like, I would need my contact lens case.
just go there.
Contacts.
I'm really glad you're here. I am losing my shit.
I wish they'd
Jane,
come back.
This is. They keep doing this where like they leave for long periods of time, and it's 5:30 already.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here for a while. I didn't know if like
Rebecca.
I don't know. Are you looking to see if there's more info?
No, I
online?
haven't had this from Danny. I have from Kara. So I called her.
I talked to Kara yesterday. I was taking a walk around 5. I met a new friend last night, a friend of a friend, this girl Malia. We went to Tallahassee food trucks last night, hung out with her for hours.
Okay, Rebecca. So tell us about this Tallahassee food trucks. Do you go and hang out for hours? Because I want to know what that's like. I mean, that's like going and hanging out at McDonald's for hours. And Rebecca, you get to hear Georgia speak tomorrow night. Very jealous. I want to hear all about it.
Are you telling her?
Yeah. Because she also Googled and said, "Oh my God, there was a shooting. Do you know?" So both she and John Googled.
Why would they Google? Why would that just come up?
I mean, I said to both of them, "I'm going to the
Why would a murder in like a nice neighborhood just come up on the news? Like, why?
department." They're the people I said, "I'm going to." John was there when I got John got the call from the police officer. So then I'm in the car. I'm like, I'm calling Kara.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm on my way to the police office.
Well, I would have called you and Kara, but Kara's in Portland.
Right.
I'm really glad you're here.
So I just
I owe
I
you
just
big
can't.
time.
No worries. And so I'm just saying to her that Danny's been shot and it's serious, because until I know that I can't quite take it in that that's the
Do you think you could, like, you're allowed to leave the room? Can you? Oh,
here they're coming.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know that Lynn just came,
Oh, good.
just got the car seats in, and she's headed out.
So we have a real concern. Okay. Would it be possible for a rabbi to be sent to the hospital?
Okay.
So Danny's very religious.
Okay.
I don't know if he's
And-
even alive, but
Okay.
We're just really struggling with the idea that he's there alone.
Okay.
And he's very religious.
Okay.
extremely.
And I'm sorry to think of this earlier, but I can give you the names of the 2 rabbis in
Okay.
town, and I think they should be called.
Okay.
And at least he's not, because his family isn't, like, nobody's there with
Okay.
him.
If Sarah, can you write down these names?
Because I think if they could go,
Okay.
whatever's happening,
I understand.
whatever state he's in, some kind of blessing
I
is
understand.
required.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't have any phone numbers,
Okay.
but Jack Romberg is the name of
ROMBERG.
Yeah.
Okay.
is the name of one of the rabbis. The other rabbi.
I agree. So somebody asked, who do you think came up with the idea to murder Dan? And Real Dreamscape says, in my opinion, during the contentious divorce, Wendy made a comment to her family. It would be so much easier if he had just died, kind of like in her cutesy little Wendy way. And then it kind of went into motion. I feel like the same thing. Like she kind of planted it and then told her family how horrible Dan was.
has a name that's going to take you a while to spell. His name
Sometimes those are the easy ones because I find one and that's the only one there is.
His name is Schnoyer Eurichman.
Common spelling on that?
That's really
Do we think Jane had the wine in her cup? Because she's so giddy.
yeah, that's a good one.
But his last name is Eurichman. Oirecchman. His first name is Schnoyer, Schnoyer.
I'm just Googling Rabbi Tallahassee.
I'll see what I can find. If you'll tear that out for me and I'll see what I can find.
Thank you.
But Lynn is here. The car seats are in. I've spoken to the preschool. I changed the name. They were fine with that.
Preschool knows that,
Lynn is coming.
okay.
Yes, I've spoken with them after you spoke with them and told them she was coming. They were fine.
Okay. Do they know what's going on?
I don't know. The investigator,
Was
made
there?
contact, so I
Yeah.
don't know what all they know.
Okay.
But we spoke with Lynn and
She's
said,
gonna take him to the house?
yep, and
does Lynn
said,
know what's going on?
we explained to her he is severely injured. He may, probably will not make it, but
he knows not to, they don't tell the
correct.
So they're just gonna pick him up, say mommy's
Mhm.
in a meeting, mommy's busy?
Time for McDonald's. Auntie Lynn's picking you up.
Okay.
And then I have her, cell phone number because I knew you didn't have your phone right then. We'll get that back to you here shortly, hopefully.
Okay.
And I told her that you would call her and probably go straight to the house, whether it's us taking you there, Jane taking you there, whatever, however you need to get
to
there.
stay here?
I don't think so.
Did I gave them my keys,
Yep,
right?
they have the keys because I got the
My
car
house
seats
key.
out.
Okay.
Yes, tennis girl, correct. They wiretapped, the FBI did, Charlie's phone and Katie's phone. So all the calls with Charlie and Donna are when Charlie was calling his mom. And then Miss Kitty, yes. I think it was Isom in his interview with Mentor Lawyer. He did say that people were watching this live in another room.
But yeah, all that should be done. Unfortunately, just everything's time consuming. So that's, kind of all we're waiting on. Okay.
Okay.
Let me see what I can.
Good, we need that, I mean, that's just urgent.
Okay,
That's just
absolutely.
really
And
urgent.
it's Jack Romberg and Rabbi
You can call him like Eurichman.
or Rickman. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you for thinking of that.
You're welcome.
And I did tell Mr. Isom that you want to talk to him again. So.
Yeah.
And is there a bathroom that I can use?
Yes.
I had a similar urgency need. They made me swipe my hands before they let me use the bathroom.
I don't know.
Gonna go to your left. And then kind of in that little.
You can hear the toilet flushing in there. I don't know why that cracks me up. So Jane has just left the room. Jane's gotten a text on her phone, and Wendy's reading the text. Amazing.
I mean,
Sorry. Do you mind if I sit in this chair?
Oh, please do.
Jane, I'm sorry. I don't know.
You'll have to rewatch Covered Tova at the beginning. It's very exciting.
What his family knows yet. Did they get that
We're
information?
working on that. What we do usually as a law enforcement agency, we don't like to tell people that over the phone if we can try to avoid it, just because it's kind of shocking news. And we
Yeah, in
usually
Canada.
So can you tell
what we're
law
trying.
enforcement there to go to the
Correct.
house?
That's what we're trying to do now.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't know, especially people's conditions and how they're going to react. So if someone gets so upset that they have a heart attack or something, we want, not
It's
just be
better.
on the phone.
It's better to have a human.
Mhm.
But they're working on that now.
Yes.
So it's an actual
Mhm.
fact that he's not going to survive these injuries.
That's what General Isom?
Yes, Investigator Isom. Yeah, that's what he.
He's not a general.
Whatever.
General Isom. Hey, everybody, please hit like and subscribe. It's free. Thank you.
Phone grabs you sometimes, so it's okay.
I was just like in the car with it. I'm like, what is your name? What did I do today? I saw that one from Kara. If you need to call her, you can. You're not being held hostage here. Just tell her.
So what we're in the process right now, and to do that, generally we have to. Someone did a telegraph that we send to the other agency, kind of giving the information on who to make contact. It's very old school as we started working here.
I know that it's not
Mhm.
like, well, I don't know what's happening right now, but like as a little bit ago, it wasn't definitive. Do they want to wait until it's definitive, or do they want him to like?
They want to get in contact with them because I think some decisions need to be made, and because they're his parents, they would be his next of kin. Yeah.
So he's still alive, but he's maybe on life support or some such thing.
I don't know
You
the
don't
medical
know.
terms around it, but it's from what Investigator Isom was telling her, it does not look.
He was shot in the head.
From what was it with Investigator Isom?
I said that and he didn't answer it.
So it's just he was very badly
shot
multiple times, maybe badly.
When I think he did say that there was trauma to his face. And that's when you were asking about showing the voice.
I wanted the kids
you
to be with him, but not if he looks scary.
And not if he's. I mean, there's nothing to be.
I know. I just thought he might be like.
No, I know.
I got the
like
feeling he might be a little bit alive.
Right.
And if he's a little bit alive, I wanted him to like touch
be
the
able to
kids
see
one
the
more
children,
time.
but he's apparently beyond that. Like he probably hasn't regained
From what Investigator Isom
consciousness.
said, correct. Yes. I don't.
He's
From
been,
what he was saying, I wouldn't.
He was
say
found in a really dreadful state, and he has not come out of any kind of. He hasn't.
Jane rubbing her leg.
Phase.
The heck?
Oh, good Lord.
Y'all, that looks so weird. I just have never noticed that.
Have you called your parents, darling?
No, after we're just
Can
going.
she call her parents?
They have
I don't see. They have her phone.
But
Yeah,
I
but I know
you
their
their number.
I do know my family's number.
I don't
Know the answer?
I don't know that. I don't want to say yes. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and come back. Do you need to like my suspect? You need to like watch me.
No, I don't need to watch you.
Okay, I'll be back.
What I'll do too is I'll just check and see if you can call your
Yeah.
parents, okay?
Yeah.
I don't see any issue with it.
I just think they're gonna want to come up.
Well, and you're gonna want them here.
Yeah.
So they
I want
need to.
them-
They need to get in the car right now, and they need to come up.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what needs to happen. Because they can stay with you at your house.
And they can
We
help me
can.
with the
We
boys.
just try to figure out if you're safe to be in the house.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're coming to an end of Jane, but so she's alone in the room and she immediately starts gossiping. And then Sara comes in and then Isom's like, yeah, you got to go. She's in a chair now.
Hey, it's me. So I'm just updating you. Danny is expected to die.
Danny's expected to die.
Don't tell anybody else, just keep it to yourself. I know that you're.
Can you imagine somebody calls you from the police station? Listen, Danny is going to die. Don't tell it to anyone. Just keep that to yourself. She could not wait to have this moment alone to call this person. Dennis, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's right. No, he's Wendy. Of course, I mean they've been interviewing her as a suspect, and I have suggested Jeff Lacasse. That's my contribution, and also suggested that we get a rabbi over there because he's alone. He doesn't have family here. This is really terrible. This is really terrible. There's nothing you can do that I can think of. Wendy's got, I mean, they brought me here to get the kids, but I thought, God, the poor children, they won't know me. And actually, it's probably better that I'm, here with Wendy. I'm sitting here with the victim advocate, and now the investigator, and I'm going to get off the phone. I will. All right. I don't.
Okay, I appreciate you coming up here.
I'll get out of your way.
It's time to go.
Okay.
We got some more stuff we have to take.
See, when she was on the phone gossiping with whoever, like, listen, he's been shot. Don't tell anyone. Sarah was texting, and I think she was texting Isom like, this isn't good. So he comes in and is like, you got to go.
Yeah. But I really appreciate you coming up here and talking to her.
And I suggested to you that you look at Jeff Lacasse.
That's what Sara was saying. I'm not sure who that guy is.
Well, she'll tell you about it. And
is she going to tell me everything?
I imagine she will. I mean, she's been Danny's a jealous guy. Jeff is a jealous guy.
All right.
That as a social worker, I would be.
Well, let me ask you this: if Jeff is the new guy, why would he do it?
Just because he's. This is something I wouldn't say in front of Wendy.
Okay.
I thought you said it's something I wouldn't say. I'm like, I'm right here.
Doing the kind of work I do, I would think, there's this person, and then he loves Wendy. Danny makes Wendy's life very difficult. Wendy is currently making his life very difficult. I don't know him to be a lunatic, but he's a jealous guy.
Okay. All right.
That's what I would say. He's my colleague, so he's somebody I think of as a decent guy.
That would be who now?
Jeff Lacasse is my colleague.
Okay. All right.
Are you leaving? Yes, I'm being kicked out.
Oh,
Really? Really. But I can come get you if you need me.
okay.
Okay? So if you can't drive, it's no problem.
What's your number, Jane, so I can give you a call?
321-4657. I'm happy to come get you. You need to talk to these guys.
Can you make sure someone goes to see Danny? I guess they're gonna do
You're
that.
gonna
That's
do
not
that,
your
right?
job.
You're gonna make sure that there's
I know Sergeant Baldwin, when I was out there, I was talking to her when you
It's
were
really
using it, they were
critical.
working.
Wow, that is still Jane's cell phone. I just looked that up on her CV. She didn't change her number.
that he be blessed today.
Oh,
It's absolutely
okay.
critical
Gotcha.
that he see that
Okay.
a rabbi go there. Absolutely critical.
Right.
Okay,
All right,
bye. Thank you for coming.
Okay, I am available to you. I'm going now, but
Yeah.
this is a process and you're gonna move through it. Thank
Okay.
you. I'm glad. Thanks very much. And these guys were very generous to let me come in here at all. So thanks very much for
You're welcome. I'll be back.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we don't have to watch that Jane anymore.